Alright, so we're going to go ahead, lay our flaps down on the smooth side. Then we're going to go ahead and press in our number 10 flange nuts from that smooth side. What it's going to do is it's going to press in, and this little lip is going to capture the mud flap, and then we're going to screw it in from the opposite side, and that'll create a nice tight bond. So we're going to go ahead and just get those pressed in and prepped. Alright, pressing them in can be kind of snug, so it was designed that way to really hold on to that flange nut. If you want, you can do what I do. Make sure that it's set up. Use a mallet, just a nice soft mallet, just to give them a nice little tap in. Get it set up. Just get those all prepped on both front and rear flaps. Alright, now that we've got those pressed in, we're going to go ahead and prep our accent vinyl. What we'll do is we'll just place it in between the two end screws, like so. So that way it's right there. That's where will match up with the logo on the bracket, like so. We'll go ahead and do the front one. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to prep the bracket to be mounted, and we're just going to give it a light bend to match the curvature instead of putting it up there flat. It's just a nice 18 gauge stainless steel, so it's very malleable, so that way we can match the curvature of your fender. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead, I just put it over my thigh to create a nice soft bending surface, and just give it a nice little bend. What that will do is it will prep it for the shape of the fender. Then we'll go ahead, undo these 3 OEM screws, put some washers on it, and mount it to those 3 mounting holes. Alright, now that we've got all 3 OEM screws taken out, if you don't have the OEM screws, this is where our replacement hardware would come into play. You would go ahead and place these on the metal flange behind there and remove the OEM inserts if you have them, or if you're missing one, you can just put it on the one that you're missing and use our screw. If not, for this install, we're just going to go ahead and reuse the OEM screws with our washers and put it on. But if you need to use replacement hardware, we provide that in the kit. Now that we've got the screws in, we're going to leave them in just a little bit lightly. We're not going to fully secure them. We're going to check level and adjust it so it's nice and level, and then we'll go ahead and snug those down. And go. Alright, now that we've got that snug down, we're going to show you how the bracket is designed. It is designed to come out and around and step back at this portion to make clearance for these larger tires. This truck that we're currently working on has no lift, and it's running a 12.5 wide wheel with a 33 by 12.5 R20. I believe the offset on the wheel is around a plus 40, and so it's a super aggressive stance, and with that, that's when guys start cutting and clearancing this. This is going to allow this to step back and allow you to clearance this lower portion and your liner to scoot that back, and that will allow it to clear and rotate, and you can clearance your heart's desire out so that your tires won't rub. Alright, so what I'm doing is just prepping it with a little bit of medium strength thread locker to help with vibrations. And we're going to go ahead, grab our 1/4 inch number 10 machine screws, grab our 1/8 inch Allen key. We'll go ahead and mount this up here. These flaps do come in a variety of lengths, but seeing as how this truck does not have a lift, we are putting a slightly smaller flap on there. Those are just going to screw in nicely. Go ahead. The front is going to have 10 and the rear is going to have 8. As I'm snugging these down, you want to make sure that you just barely go until it stops. That will compress it into the material a little bit, and you'll know that you're nice and snug. That head will compress into it. That's part of the reason we decided to go with this inverted flange design, is so that we can maximize the clearance that we're gaining by stepping that back. Now that we've got that fully mounted up, that's all you need to do for the front. We'll go ahead and show you how to get the rear on. It's just about as easy. So let's go ahead, jump back there, and get to it. Okay, so we're going to take our rear here, and we're going to prep it the same as we did the front. Kind of give it a nice light bend over our thigh to help it match the curvature of the fender. There we go. Set that aside for now while we go ahead and take out the OEM screws. The 3 that we're after are the ones that are protruding the most, holding on the fender flare. Go ahead and get those out of our way. And just like the front, the rear, we also provide replacement hardware. For this one, we have the OEM inserts and screws, so we're just going to go ahead and reuse those. But if you need to replace any of them, it'll come with the same clips and 1-inch screws. For those 3 holes, you can just place the clip over the metal on the fender, line up the holes, and use these screws, and they'll snug it up just fine. And with the rear, you'll notice that it has 6 holes. It is mirrored to the other side, just in case you don't have the little purse that kicks out on the other side. You can go ahead and use the same hole pattern that you have on this side, but if you have the purse, it has a different pattern, and you can go ahead and line those up. And so we'll go ahead and line these ones up with their holes, which will be the bottom one here. It'll be the bottom one here and the top one on the very top there. Alright, now that we're done mounting that, got that all snugged up, we're going to go ahead, prep the flap with some medium strength thread locker, and go ahead and throw it up on there. Get both ends supported first. Line the flap up, making sure that it's square with our step back. The other 6 in, snug it up, and then we're done. Oh, the last one's snugged up. You can go ahead, make any final adjustments if one of them's crooked. Other than that, you're good to go. You can repeat those same steps for the other side. Now we'll go ahead and we'll show you what the bin that drops out. We'll show you how that works, and it doesn't inhibit the motion or how it opens, and the bracket folds down with it. So we'll hurry and pop over to the other side and show you how that works. Good?
Yep.
Alright, so since Nissan took the time to make this cool little pocket, we figured we wouldn't lock it shut by over mounting it. And even still, this is nice and structurally sound. So, with that being awesome, and it's attached nice and strong, we'll go ahead and open it up, show you how it works. It's attached there, doesn't interfere with your fender liner, swoops back into position, and then you can store whatever you store in here. Close it back up, and your mud flap's right back in place.